Okay, we are picking up in lesson 4.5 where we left off. If you missed this lesson, it's been up here, so hopefully you've had some time if you need to copy some of this information down, right? But if you recall, we were doing our first stint of trying to solve quadratic equations. And lesson 4.5 is all about factoring. Now, I will say, factoring was a little rough on the quiz. So it is all that more important that we pay attention to what we're doing here, okay? Because we've got to be able to factor. That is a necessary algebra skill. We use it, we officially learn it in this chapter, although all these factoring techniques you also were introduced to in Algebra 1, but we officially learn it in this chapter. But then as we go throughout the rest of the school year, there'll be times where factoring pops up. It's one of those expected skills that we carry forward. So it can't be one of those things of, I'm just not going to learn factoring and that's all right, you know. No, you kind of need to learn it. Otherwise, it's going to make the rest of your, year a little more difficult. So if we jump down to our last example on this half, and then we'll go to the bottom half, what was our first question we were asking ourselves over and over and over every problem? Okay, in order to factor, we want to see, and we're talking, these are quadratic equations, right? Which quadratic means it's x to the second. So first question, does it equal 0? Does my equation equal 0? No. So it equals 12. How do I get it to equal 0? Yeah, if I have a positive 12, how do you get rid of positive 12? Subtract 12. So we're going to subtract 12. And we're going to rewrite out our new equation, which is 1/2 x squared plus x minus 12 equals 0. Now it equals 0, right? Okay. Next thing. What was our other question we were asking ourselves repeatedly? Okay. Well, okay, so the question is there a GCF? And I don't know if you called it a GCF or not. I wasn't going to necessarily call it a GCF, but the 1/2 is an issue, right? So you could factor it out as a GCF. However, you guys aren't going to want to have to divide everything by a half. So I have a different route to take us. So it doesn't really fall into the GCF category, but more of how do we get rid of, and it's not so much that it's a fraction, it's the fact that there's a denominator. How do you get rid of a denominator of 2?
Multiply 2 by both sides.
Multiply by 2, right? So if it's, because it's 1 divided by 2. So to get rid of that 2, which is the big problem, dividing by 2, the opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply by 2. So, and this is just kind of a unique problem, but it's one of those things, I know you guys wig out at fractions, right? Oh, fractions, I can't do it. We have to learn fractions. So we're going to multiply by 2. Now, here's the deal. If you multiply that term by 2, we can multiply everything by 2, right? Kylie used the phrase both sides. Okay, we're multiplying both sides of that equation, everything on both sides by 2. And it'll make it a much nicer problem. So, 2 times 1/2 x squared. What is half of 2? 1. And so what's 1x squared? We can write that as just x squared. Now keep multiplying by 2. 2 times x?
2x.
Plus 2x. Minus 2 times 12? 24. Equals? 0 times 2 is luckily still 0. Does that make you a little more comfortable?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. My hope is that makes you a little more comfortable. Some of you are still saying, I still don't like this stuff. It's still factoring. But you're going to learn it, right? We're going to try. So this is of the form x squared plus bx plus c. So we need a product of, well, we don't have to worry about AC right now because there's just a 1. So product of c, the c value, which is negative 24. We need a sum of the b value, the middle term, which is 2. Okay. You guys know I always give a list of 24, so 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. 5 doesn't work, and then you're back to 6. Okay. How do I make this work?
4 and 6.
4 and 6 subtract to be 2, right? So that's a good news. If they multiply to be negative, that means I need 1 positive, 1 negative. If they're going to add to be positive 2, then we want the bigger number to be positive. So negative 4, positive 6. So I didn't set them up. I didn't think about it. This is where we get to set up 2 parentheses, right? X squared breaks down into x times x. The numbers we came up with were -4 plus 6. Yeah. On the quiz, you were done because you just had to factor, right? Okay. But this we're solving. So remember, we had our zero product property. Zero product property says if 2 pieces multiplied equals 0, one of them has to be 0, right? So we set both parts equal to 0 to find our possible answers. So here, we're going to set x minus 4 equal to 0, and we're going to set x plus 6 equal to 0. I have run out of room. So, if it's x minus 4, you add 4 and x equals 4. If it's x plus 6, subtract 6, x equals -6. Solutions are 4, comma, -6. Okay. Now, are you going to see lots like that where there's a fraction, you have to multiply it out of there? No, I don't know if you'll see any like that, but it's still a good type of problem to be able to look at, especially those of you that continue into math past Algebra 2. You know, we have to be able to deal with fractions. Okay, questions on this page? Okay, because we have a bottom half, don't we? And so, as we look at the bottom half, notice these are still quadratic equations, right? There's going to be a distinct difference in what happens with these, but we're going to start just the same. What's my first question?
Is it equal to 0?
Okay, I would start. Is it equal to 0? Definitely not equal to 0, right? And I don't know that you'll have this much moving around to do in homework, but this is the easy part, right? I always prefer to keep a positive x squared. So I'm going to want to keep positive 5x squared. So how do I move positive 2?
Subtract.
I hope we subtract 2 now. If I subtract 2 on the right, subtract 2 on the left. Where am I subtracting 2 on the left?
14.
From the like term of 14. Good. On the right, we have a minus 2x. I'm going to do this all at once if you can handle it. How do I move a minus 2x? You add 2x. If we add 2x on the right, we're going to add 2x on the left. What am I adding 2x to? To the 30x, the like term. Are we okay with what I'm doing there?
Yeah.
And I'm going to do both steps at once here. We're going to write out what we have. So I still have 5x squared. 30x plus 2x is 32x. Plus 14 minus 2 is plus 12. And now we can say it equals 0. Stop me if you have a question. Okay, don't let me keep going and confuse you. So all I've done at this point is make it equal to 0. Now, what's my next question?
Greatest common factor.
Is there a GCF? Do 5, 32, and 12 have anything in common between all three?
No.
And that's where we say
Well,
we
one.
wish there was, right?
One.
Besides 1, right? Okay. We wish there was a GCF of 5. That would make our life a lot easier right now. But
Just add numbers.
there's not. So, okay. No GCF. What kind of factoring are we going to have to do here? Product of AC. Okay. And why are we having to do product of AC? Because there is an A value other than 1. Okay. So when there's an A value, so when we have an x squared term that has a value, so ax squared plus bx plus c, we're doing product of AC. So I'm going to have to walk you through this, guys. Now, does it, no, I can't really put that there. Okay, A, what is A? 5, because it's a number in front of x squared. What is C? 12, because it's the constant at the end. And what is 5 times 12? 60. Okay, and so we're going to need two numbers that multiply to be 60 and have a sum, so they add to be the B value, which is 32. Now, maybe you can come up with that set of values, piece of cake. If not, what am I going to suggest? Make a list, right? Start going through a list until you find the set of numbers. Don't get all stressed like, I don't know what they are. Okay, that's fine. It's not always obvious, so product of 60. 1 times 60. 2 times
2 times 30.
30? Is that what you said the first time?
No, I said 40.
I thought so. Okay. 2 times 30 is 60. 3 times 20. 4 times 15. 5 times 12. 6 times 10. And I think that's our last pair. Now, did I have to go that far?
Yeah.
No. Okay. As soon as you find, you don't even have to write them down. This is not a requirement that I grade. But if you come to me and ask for help and say, I don't know what pair works, that's fine. This is the process I'm going to take you through. So, did you find a pair that works in there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice. They're nice numbers at least. 2 and 30, right? 2 times 30 is 60. 2 plus 30 is 32. Double check yourself. Okay. Do you remember what to do from here?
You gotta split 32.
Yeah.
Dang.
You had this factoring on the quiz, okay? This is not where you can just put 2 parentheses and say x plus 2 and x plus 30. That only works if it's x, 1x squared out front. Because there is an ax squared out front, our first step is to
Split 30.
split that middle term. Sound familiar? Okay, so if that hasn't quite sunk in, practice with me today. Now, you can put these in either order. We can say 2x plus 30x, or 30x plus 2x. I'm guessing you guys are going to prefer 30x plus 2x. And that's a positive 30x, right? They're both positives. The 5x squared just carries down and stays out front. The plus 12 just carries down and stays out back. And don't forget to carry down your equal 0. Okay. 4 terms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Do you remember the next step when you have 4 terms?
You have to split it into 2.
Yeah, we're going to split it in half. First 2 terms, second 2 terms. And I want to know, what is the GCF of just the first 2? Forget the last 2. So 5x squared and 30x.
5x.
5x.
They both divide by 5, and they both have an x, don't they? Okay, so that 5x, I'm going to put out front. I'm debating at some point I'm going to have to go over into my empty space here. So, okay, so I'm going to put 5x out front. Okay, 5x squared when I divide by 5x. There's an x there. 30x when I divide by 5x. There's a 6 left. Now, I oftentimes write in the divide by 5x. Do some of you still want me to do that, or are we okay without that? I don't know. So, if you look back at some of my others, I will write in, we divided by 5x here. Now, second half, what about 2x plus 12? What do they have in common? They both divide by 2. Do they divide by x?
No.
No, because only one of them has an x. So we're going to put, and is it a positive 2 or negative 2? So I'm going to put a plus 2 there. You are technically adding that 2 on at the end of the previous parentheses. So technically there does need to be a sign. 2x divided by 2? X plus 12 divided by 2? 6. Carry down the fact that this equation still equals 0. Do we like where we're at?
Yeah.
Yes, we like where we're at, though, in that x plus 6 and x plus 6, my parentheses match. And remember, that's what you want to happen. If they are not identical, don't try and move forward. Don't try and force it. So, I'm going to bring it up here. And this is where we go to 2 parentheses. Okay, so you have a matching parenthesis, right? Depending on how you set this up. So one of my parentheses is a matching parenthesis.
Doesn't matter which one.
It does not matter which one.
And then the other one is 5x.
Okay, and then think, if I pull out this x plus 6, right? Because it's a common factor. If I factor that out, what are the remaining pieces? A 5x and a plus 2. So that is my other parenthesis of 5x plus 2. You know how to finish from here? You're finishing just like we did on the previous page, at the top of your page, right?
And now we're solving. You do 6 minus x, or 6 plus, or x plus 6 equals 0. 5x plus 2 equals
2 parentheses, multiplying to equal 0. 2 items multiply, 2 values multiplied equals 0. Set them each equal to 0. So we know that either x plus 6 equals 0 or 5x plus 2 equals 0. Basic equation solving here. If it's x plus 6, we're going to subtract 6, and x is
negative 6.
negative 6. What about if it's 5x plus 2?
You subtract 2 from 0.
Okay, first of all, subtract 2. If it's 5x plus 2, we're going to do the opposite and subtract 2.
You see 5x plus 2.
2 minus 2 cancels. What is 0 minus 2?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. And then, am I done? Do I just say negative 2?
Divide by 5 and you get x equals negative 2.
It's 5 times x. Divide by 5. And this teacher is just going to say negative 2/5. Math Excel might require you to say negative 2/5. Now, if you're doing a quiz or a test or a worksheet for me, something on paper, and you tell me that that is negative 0.4, I'm not going to argue. It's true. I just can't guarantee Math Excel will accept it. Okay? So, when you give your answers, Math Excel is probably going to have x equals, or you're just going to type your answer. So, negative 6, comma, negative 2/5. You just type your 2 answers, put a comma between them is, I think, what Math Excel wants. Some of you have started it would know for sure, but. Okay, what do you think? Product of AC? Is it coming back to you?
Yes.
I mean, eventually we have to get to that point where it's just there. We just look at it, we're like, ah, got it. I say eventually. We're going to baby steps here, right? Okay. We ready to try the next problem?
Sure.
Okay. 4x squared minus 14x plus 7 equals 4 minus x. What's that first step you're taking?
Does it equal 0?
And does it equal 0?
No.
And again, I like to keep my 4x squared positive. Okay? I don't know if all math teachers are like this, but when I'm doing anything with a quadratic, I like my first term to be positive. So, how do I keep the 4x squared there and move everything to join it?
We subtract the 4.
Okay. It's a positive 4. We're going to subtract 4, which means I'm subtracting 4 from 7. It's a minus x. I'm going to add x. I'm adding 1x, if you will, to the negative 14x. Okay. Let's rewrite what we have. Still going to have 4x squared minus 14x plus 1x. Minus 14 plus 1 is minus 13x. Plus 7 minus 4 plus 3 equals
0.
that beautiful 0 we need. Okay. So it equals 0. Is there a GCF?
No.
Nope. No GCF. We tried. We checked. And that's why I keep always ask you, and I'm writing it down as reminders. Okay. What do you notice about this problem? Yeah. There's an a value, right? So this is of that form, ax squared plus bx plus c. Where's a? It's 4. It's in front of x squared. Where's c? It's that constant term that's by itself. And 4 times 3 is 12. What do we need these terms to add to, or these values to add to then?
Negative 13.
That x value, that middle value, so negative 13. Do you see it?
Yeah. Negative 1, negative 12.
Yeah. If we start listing values, 1 and 12 is the first set of values you're going to list, right?
Yeah, it's the only one.
2 and 6, 3 and 4, they're not going to work. So we're going to have to use 1 and 12. Now, I ask these questions every time. How do two numbers multiply to be a positive?
Both.
Same
Well,
sign.
same sign.
Both signs. Same signs. Both positive or both negative. Since we add to be negatives,
They both have to be.
both negative in this case. So what do I do with that minus 1 and minus 12?
Split negative 13.
We're going to split our b term. We're going to split our negative 13x. I don't know. Which way are you guys going to pick this?
I put 1 on the 4 side. I put 1 on the 3 side. It works out either way. Yeah.
I say it'll work out both ways. So,
I really do 12x and then 1.
see, I was going to go 12x and then 1x, but,
That's what I did 1x and then 12x because it's easiest.
But either way.
and here's the deal. Who is it easier for? And that's what matters, right? It has to be easier for you. So whatever you see first is what you should probably do, right? Okay, for me as a teacher, it doesn't matter. I can do this either way. And yes, realize it's going to work out, right? It'll look different in the middle. Your matching parentheses will be the opposite of, the other people's matching parentheses, but it works, so. Okay. I'm going to go unusual from what I usually do. I'm going to go minus 1x minus 12x. Just to make a point that it works both ways. This is opposite of what I would normally do, to be honest. So We carry down the 4x squared. We carry down the 3. We equal 0. Okay. I've got 4 terms here. I'll be curious how you guys feel about this. So, okay. The first two, 4x squared and minus 1x. What do they have in common?
X.
Just an x, right? I don't normally set it up like this, do I?
No.
But, so if you're going the other way, meet me in the end. It's fine. So if we factor out an x, 4x squared, when you divide by x, leaves you with 4x.
I did negative x. Like I factored out negative x. That doesn't work.
You won't want it to. Your preference, you will want to have a positive lead. Most of the time, you want to have a positive lead x value. So the only way I would factor out a negative GCF is if your lead term is negative. Okay. Now, to be honest, I guess I'm not going to say it won't work. Sorry, I was processing through that as I was talking.
Okay.
What answers did you get?
X equals 3 and 1/4.
I got the same thing.
Sorry.
Dang it.
But, and here's, I mean,
I'll do it the way you did it.
there are certain situations where I would definitely factor in that extra negative, because what that means is you factored out differently on the next side. So it just goes to show there's lots of different ways we can do these. That's what it goes to show. Okay? Okay, so I was factoring out x. 4x squared divided by x was 4x. Minus 1x divided by x is minus 1. Now, so what I'm going to do, okay, 12 and 3 have a GCF of 3. Since this first term is negative, I'm going to say factor out a negative 3. Negative 12x divided by negative 3. 4x. 3 divided by negative 3, minus 1.
I did it right, you just did it the opposite way.
And here's the deal. I have 4x minus 1's matching. Those of you that went the other way have
X minus 3's
x minus 3's matching. Okay? It's fine.
Or if you went the whole different way, you have negative x plus 3.
And negative 4x plus 1. That could work too. Okay, just not the typical that I encourage, but it could work. Okay, so one of my parentheses, for me, my 4x minus 1's match. Once I factor out the 4x minus 1, my other piece is x minus 3. What is that next step? Okay. So either 4x minus 1 has to equal 0 or x minus 3 has to equal 0. If it's 4x minus 1, add 1. 4x equals 1. Sorry, I just kind of kept going. I don't think this is the part we struggle with. I think if you guys can get to this part, you know, 1 divided by 4 we have 1/4 is what I would say. Some of you may have said 0.25. And over here, if it was x minus 3, you had to add 3. So we had solutions of 1/4 and 3. Right? Okay. You want to start ahead of me on this next one?
No.
No? We don't have that kind of motivation? It's not a motivational Monday here?
No.
True.
I'm trying.
Maybe Monday's not good. Motivational Monday.
I don't like this.
Just because
More like mundane Monday.
Moaning Monday.
jealous.
Well, I'm trying for motivational Monday.
I feel like mundane is a better word for it.
So we're going to have to deal with this quiz at some point.
As long as
And
we
some of
can
you
get
need some motivation to deal with your quiz because They were not always pretty.
I'll probably
You
just
were
say
doing
one.
deliberations.
So-
I just said one.
Elections, I was not.
Okay, if you've started ahead of me, that's fine. If not, work with me. Does it equal 0?
No.
No, so I'm going to subtract 15 over 2x squared plus 7x minus 15 equals 0. And hey, guess what? In homework, you'll actually have some that sometimes equal 0.
Oh, that'll be nice.
You know, we're not going to have to make them all equal to 0. Okay? Read my mind.
GCF.
Is there a GCF?
No.
No.
Product of AC.
Okay. No GCF, and surprise, surprise, product of AC. What's A?
2.
2.
A number.
And if you're not answering these questions,
A is a letter.
there is no excuse to not know how to answer these questions. Because I keep asking the same questions, right? So make sure you're paying attention and following along. Okay, A in front of x squared. I think that's what, the 4th time I've said that today at least?
Yeah.
Well, 3rd, I guess. What's C?
A number.
Negative 15, the number added or subtracted at the end. So 2 times negative 15, negative 30. And a sum of 7. Well, if the numbers don't come to you right off the bat, let's make a list, right? Products of 30.
1 and 30.
1 times 30. 2 times 15. 3 and, oh, maybe?
We have 5 and 6.
I started to say 4 and, I even started to write 4, but 4 doesn't have anything, does it?
No, it's 5 and 6.
5 and 6. Oh, I don't know why 3 and 10 was not coming to my mind. I'll be honest, I was the one that needed to make the list there. I need to process through it. Okay. How do I make 3 and 10 work?
Opposite side.
If it multiplies to be a negative, I have a positive and a negative. I want to add to be positive, so the littler number is negative. So we're going to split our middle term. I'm going to say plus 10x minus 3x.
Oh.
Sorry, I hit the wrong thing. Momentary freak out on my part. Okay. What did I say I was doing? I said I was going to do plus 10x minus 3x. I'm going to carry down my 2x squared. I'm going to carry down my minus 15. And showing proper work, you still carry down that equals 0. Four terms?
Yes.
So we're going to split it in half. After the second term, before the third term. What's the GCF of 2x squared and 10x? 2 and 10 divide by 2, and they both divide by x. So we're going to put a 2x out front. And I don't know, do some of you, maybe I should be writing this on. Do you need to see that we're dividing these both by 2x? Do you need that visual? Don't be afraid to write that visual in. So, 2x squared, when I divide by 2x, 2 divided by 2 will cancel, and I'm left with x. 10x divided by 2x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. X is canceled. Okay, back half. Minus 3x minus 15.
Divide by negative 3.
They both divide by 3, and this is where I would say negative 3, because that first term is negative. Now, if it helps, you're dividing both those terms by negative 3. So it's negative 3x divided by negative 3. X. Minus 15 divided by minus 3 plus 5 equals 0. What do you think? Any success?
So far.
Yeah, we've got some success. Okay, one of my parentheses. Stay with me, please.
X plus 5 is
I matched with x plus 5. My extra pieces are 2x minus 3. And we don't stop here.
Nope. You gotta equal them to 0.
Equal them to 0. X plus 5 equals 0. 2x minus 3 equals 0. Let's see. If it's x plus 5,
Subtract 5.
subtract 5.
X equals -5.
X equals negative 5. If it's 2x minus 3,
Add 3.
add 3. 2x equals 3.
You have 3.
Divide by 2.
3 over 2.
And your math teacher is going to say
3 halves.
3 halves, 3 over 2. So we have answers of negative 5 and 3 halves. Okay? Okay. Your homework, you could have already started last week. It's probably been open since, what, Wednesday, I think? It is also possible you haven't touched it, which is perfectly fine. What's due tomorrow?
Homework.
Lesson 4.5 in Math Excel. What should be due today? IXL. I will probably go in, if I remember, today after school and grab the first set of IXL scores. If you finish after that, you'll have to come and let me know. Okay? IXL, the information's in Schoology if you need it. Okay?